Whether you turn on the news, you read a newspaper article, or you walk down the street of your city or town that you live in, it doesn't take much to realize that there is a major drug epidemic going on in this country. Globally, over 13 million people inject dangerous drugs into their systems, such as heroin. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, just over 64,000 people died of drug overdoses in the United States of America. And users and deaths related to heroin are continuing to rise in this country as well. In the year 2011, just under 5,000 people died of heroin overdoses in this country. Fast forward to 2015, and that number rose to just under 15,000. Now, because of the continued users of drugs such as heroin in this country and the dangerous effects that this can have on the human body, including death, cities across the United States have been looking for ways to try to fight this epidemic. One of the ways that has been gaining traction in cities such as the city of Seattle, where I currently live in, is the use of safe injection sites. Now, safe injection sites are a place where drug users of drugs such as heroin can bring their own drugs to these sites and be provided with sterile equipment and have trained staff around them to inject these drugs into their system. Now, in cities across Europe, these have been a site where you can see them in almost every town. But here in the United States, this has been a hot topic over the last few years because of the political, ethical, and medical reasons related to these sites. Now, for this video, we're just going to be talking about possibly some of the medical benefits that these safe injection sites can provide users of drugs such as heroin. One of the dangerous behaviors that IV drug abuse users of drugs such as heroin participate in is needle sharing and the reuse of needles. Now, the danger of this dangerous behavior is that it leads to an increased transmission rate of dangerous diseases such as HIV and hepatitis C. One of the medical benefits that safe injection sites possibly provide to IV drug abuse users is the use of sterile equipment such as sterile needles to inject these drugs into their system. The hope of allowing users to come to their site is that instead of reusing these needles when they're out in the streets to inject these drugs, they are decreasing the risk of disease transmission in other people as well besides themselves. In a popular Vancouver, British Columbia cohort study that looks at the medical effectiveness of safe injection sites, it found that 6 to 57 HIV infections were prevented in IV drug abuse users who came to their site and used sterile equipment to inject these drugs into their system. As we've seen, in just under the year 2015, just under 15,000 drug overdoses related to heroin happened in the United States of America. As the years go by, this number is surely to increase as this drug epidemic continues to happen in the United States of America. One of the medical benefits that safe injection sites offer to IV drug abuse users is a safe haven to inject their drug. At safe injection sites, trained staff are trained to know and recognize the signs and symptoms of a drug overdose. They are also trained to provide the drug Narcan to IV drug abuse users. Narcan is a drug that reverses the dangerous overdose effects of opioids such as heroin in IV drug abuse users. Consistent evidence from studies that look at the medical benefits of the safe injection sites find that overdoses and related harms are decreased at safe injection sites. In a popular cohort study at a safe injection site in Vancouver, British Columbia, it found that for every 1,137 heroin user, one overdose death was prevented. Of the studies that have been done on safe injection sites over the years, we are seeing that there seems to be a direct correlation between the use of these consumption sites and the use of detox and drug-dependent treatment sites. Supporters of safe injection sites argue that no matter if these sites exist or not, people who are addicted to drugs such as heroin are going to use the drug regardless, whether those sites exist. Now, one of the medical benefits that these sites can hopefully provide to IV drug abuse users of drugs such as heroin is the ability to obviously use a site to use safe equipment to use these drugs, but also the ability to receive treatment and guidance and care from people who hope that they can get them to go to detox centers to break away from their dangerous addiction. As the drug epidemic in this country continues to grow, cities across the United States are going to continue to look at different ways to address this issue head on. As the idea of safe injection sites reaches more and more city councils to look at, the medical benefits of it seem to outweigh the other problems that it brings. These include providing sterile equipment to prevent drug transmission, preventing overdoses, and as well as providing counseling to users at these sites. If we are serious about tackling this drug epidemic head on, we need to look past all the other issues that safe injection sites have and look at the medical benefits that they provide.